All right, bad news for the Detroit Pistons. They ruled out Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin for the game versus Atlanta Hawks tomorrow. Atlanta, I believe, is 2-0. They edged out Memphis last night. And then also, they popped the Chicago Bulls, which every year Chicago got all that talent, but they just can't put it together. Last year, the excuse was, the ex-coach Jim Boylan, players didn't respect him, didn't get along. This year, they got Billy Donovan, and, they got blew out. Last night again, I forget who they got blew out by last night, but let's chop it up. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Check out Detroit Piston Talk playlist for more videos like this. And at this point, it's at the point where you already know what it is. Let's just talk about Blake Griffin for a while, then we get to Derrick Rose. He out with a knee, right? He played more minutes than anybody else in the double overtime for the Pistons, in which they lost the lead, okay? If Blake Griffin was the true number one, he will close out these games for the Pistons. But at the end of the day, it ain't that he ain't no good player. That athleticism is gone, but Blake Griffin has done a tremendous job of recreating this game, beneath our eyes. He learned to shoot the ball better. He shot the ball better early on in the game last night. And then he kind of went cold down the stretch. But really, when you need a win, you give it to Jordan, give it to LeBron, give it to Kobe. Kevin Durant, he got dunked on today by Terry Rozier. If you ain't seen that, go check that out. You need a closer. And Blake Griffin ain't a closer. And Blake Griffin was perhaps one of the worst trades. In my opinion, that's the worst trade in Piston history that I can think of off top. You trade assets for a guy to come be number one, where he couldn't be number one or 1A, 1B to Chris Paul and win. What was they thinking when they traded for Blake Griffin? It was a stupid trade that allowed the Clippers to become title contenders and get Kawhi and get Paul George. That really opened up, and really what Blake Griffin was about was drawing fans to the stadium. And Blake Griffin ain't going to put no fans in the stands like that. Paul George ain't going to sell out nothing. You know what I'm saying? You talking about there's a limited number of people in the NBA right now that you can plug in any city and they can sell it out. It's hard. Who? I mean, you put LeBron, obviously he going to sell out. But Kawhi, he ain't going to sell nothing out. How you sell out in Detroit is you put a contender, you put a championship contender on the floor, you put a good product on the floor, and the fans will come out. And you got to understand, the Lions going to sell out with Barry, without Barry, with Herman Moore, without Herman Moore, with Calvin, without Calvin. The Lions NFL is just different. It sells hope by the pound. Okay? But the Blake Griffin trade was just the worst trade that I can think of in Piston history. You had a pick where you could have took Michael Porter Jr., and just other things, and just mixed with a bad trade like that, bad draft history. I mean, this team could have went on to been a dynasty had they picked Carmelo Anthony, had they picked Dwayne Wade. It could have became a dynasty, even Chris Bosh. And then you sit there and they recreate themselves with Charlie Villanueva, with Josh Smith, and Ben Gordon. It didn't work. Then they recreate themselves with, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, Greg Monroe. Before that, it didn't work. You say, well, what's the problem with the Pistons? For one, they let all their assets go. The Pistons don't draft for nothing in the first round, but they do a great job of drafting in the second round. What Spencer did with Chris Middleton, you can keep going on and on. But let's just say they hit on half the picks over the years. Let's say they keep Middleton, develop him. Keith Spencer did what he developed him, right? They do draft Devin Booker, okay? I mean, one move will trump them all. They take Giannis. This is the different scenario. If somehow you can end up with Middleton, Dinwiddie, Giannis, and Booker, win a championship. I mean, if you get Booker, hey, what about took Donovan Mitchell? They just keep missing time after time. And even when they was in the upper room, when they was at top, they missed on Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony. But speaking then, Blake Griffin is just going to be a guy that we're going to limp through the season with, to be honest. And next year, hopefully his contract attractive enough. Hopefully he healthy enough. And we can flip him. And that's the honest truth. The Blake Griffin trade was the worst trade in this season. People say, what about Iverson for Chauncey? Regardless, you got to come to reality that the Pistons were done. When Ben Wallace left, we were done. All right? His career was done when he did that. It was a perfect fit. But with Blake Griffin, bad trade. And just bad drafting, dude. But if his knee already hurting in the third game of the season, when you play, Wednesday? And then you didn't play again against Saturday? And now you get a day rest and he ain't ready? Really, at this point, Blake Griffin here just to nurture, the young fellas. And really, Isaiah Washington haven't got on the floor, but Sadiq Bey and Killian Hayes haven't showed me nothing. The only promising player that I seen, and CV, he ain't showed me nothing either. He like a bum. Josh Jackson is the only guy that I seen out there, out of the young cast that made me like, okay. DeLon Wright, he kind of older, but him. But it's at the point where the Pistons tanking. And a lot of y'all had the hope that they was going to be an AFC. Get the hell out. Look at the East. Brooklyn, they lost to Charlotte tonight, but Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Miami, Toronto, Philly, Indiana. There's 6 teams right there. You know, and one of the worst teams supposed to have been the Cavs. Y'all lost to them. Atlanta look like they're going to make the playoffs. That's 7. Orlando beat them. Miami. That's 8. I mean, it's going to be tough. And basically, they just going to tank. And it's a great year to tank. Cade Cunningham, Oklahoma State guy. Good. And if you get him, I think you got to consider trading Killian or putting him at the 2. But Killian don't look like he belong in this league. Exactly what the tape showed me. But Blake Griffin is just going to be, he done. They ruined Blake Griffin like they ruined Grant Hill. You don't learn from your past, you're going to have a hard time with your history. By them not letting Blake Griffin rest, I'm going to tell you, Blake Griffin rest during the playoffs, they lost him there. By them not load managing Blake Griffin, when they was on that 16-17 game losing streak a couple years ago, they lost in. Them not trading Blake Griffin at the trade deadline, then to Blake Griffin, they lost in. It's been a lot of major mistakes that the Pistons have made that put him in this position. You could have been got rid of Blake and Andre and had picks to show for. You could have got rid of Derrick Rose to trade deadline. I don't care what Derrick Rose feel like. He got to go. He talking about going back to Chicago. You could have turned them guys into multiple picks. Just little mistakes like that don't involve drafting or that don't involve, nothing, But with Derrick Rose, you already know the history with Derrick Rose. People got mad. I said it last year. He ain't a full-time player no more. He's a part-time player. He needs to be on a championship caliber team. And that's to put his use. That's the best way to use him. So with Derrick, it don't really surprise me. They say he getting rest, but you got to rest in the third game of the season. I don't know what to say. But then again, Draymond Green, he got to get his conditioning up. So it's just, for the Pistons, it's just a lot of mistakes. They didn't re-sign Christian Wood. Mistake. And Troy Weaver don't seem to be no better. It's like these guys come here and they intentionally try to sabotage the Pistons. But Derrick Rose hopefully get better. With Blake Griffin hopefully get better. But we couldn't beat Minnesota. We couldn't beat Cleveland. And they really ain't supposed to be nothing. It's going to be a long, long year for the Pistons. It was a long year for the Lions. But it's going to be long, man. And then just continue to look at it. January, the Pistons might lose every game in January. They got the most back-to-backs in the league. So it's going to get ugly, man. It's just for Detroit, it really ain't no hope, man. I'm not sure where the Tigers and the Wings at. Michigan basketball, they doing good. Michigan State is always solid, but that's what we're going to hang our hats on this year. It's just college basketball, hopefully. But other than that, man, it's terrible. But we're going to talk some Lions in the morning. I'm talking Lions pick in the morning. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Let me know what you guys think about Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin being out tomorrow versus the Hawks. And the Hawks is hot. But hey, don't forget you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, query, sponsorship, or video request. All my social media links in the description. Twitter's the fastest way, then Facebook, then Instagram. You want to make a financial donation, Cash App CJ Good 313. PayPal link in the description. The best way to donate is share the video and hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Check out Detroit Pistons Talk playlist. Check out my other channel, Goodfellas Sports TV. Appreciate the love, support. One time for the one time.